Hey everyone, it's summer, and I want to thank you all so much for your incredible support as we launched our channel. In the first 6 weeks, we're up to just about 2,000 subscribers, 180,000 views on our videos. I really appreciate all you're doing for me and the channel. But it is summer, and so now Charlie and I are headed to Europe. We're going to go to Waterloo, and we're going to go to some Wars of the Roses battlefield. We're going to visit lots of great places. So I'm going to continue the channel over the next few weeks just in a series of shorts to give you a taste of where we are and what history we're seeing. But until then, I want to thank you for your comments, and here's a video where Austin and I respond to everything you've asked us. Take a look. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mark's Game Room. This is our first question and answer, and we're really thrilled to all the support you've been giving us in just 1 month. As of recording this video, we have over 1,600 subscribers. That's pretty good.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you all for subscribing. If you have friends that like the channel, have them subscribe too. And we have almost, I don't know, going on 200,000 plus views of our videos. So that's really great. We're really happy people are enjoying them. Obviously, we have a lot of Band of Brothers fans, right? Of course, yeah. The Band of Brothers videos are doing well. So we thought we would take some time to address some of your comments and questions in kind of this public way so you can hear us respond live. So let's get to it.
So our first question comes from CSR. I was really interested about throwing the grenade into the house scene. Did he really have a feeling not to do it? I was shocked you didn't bring that up, or did I get that all wrong and that was just a different guy?
Right, so this is about our most popular video, which is watching Band of Brothers with George Luz, which we had a fantastic time creating. So I actually asked George about that scene. That's in Carentan. They're kind of cleaning out the Germans, and at one point Luz and I think it's Hubler are kicking in a door, and they want Luz to throw in a grenade, and Luz pauses. He doesn't want to do it, and it turns out there's a French family there. So I asked George about that scene and a few others. You might remember the scene where they're watching Marlene Dietrich, and Luz starts mimicking her, saying "got a penny," right? All those kind of things. And George Luz says he often, his friends or people that meet him go, "Did he really say got a penny?" And the answer is, who knows, right? George doesn't know. His dad never told him he did that. So, as George says about the film, things happened, basically, but not always in the way that the show depicts it, right? So there's no record that George Luz ever paused about throwing a grenade in Carentan. I believe it was just a moment that the writers were trying to show how difficult it was in city fighting. You know, that innocence could get in the way. And they used George Luz to show that. So that was just kind of a created scene, as so was the, sorry to say, got a penny scene was also created, as well as a bunch of others. But as we do point out in our video, anytime they had some cool little nugget, they worked it into the show, right? Like, I got to go blast that house. The throwaway line has a whole story behind it. So, you know, unfortunately, that one's not real.
So our next question is from Matt Render. Great battle report and awesome looking miniatures and terrain. Can't wait to see what's next for the channel. Congrats on the launch. Quick question though, where are the buildings from? We absolutely love them.
Right, okay, and there's also, we had another question from Diane Callahan, who said, your figures and terrain are top-notch. Thank you very much. Can you comment on what kind of figures and how they were painted? Also, how did you make the buildings? Great stuff and great scenario. Okay, so I guess first we'll talk about the buildings. So we have our setup here in front of us, and I needed, looks like 7 buildings to make this. And they are all 3D printed, bought off Etsy. So here's kind of a non-painted one. They're pretty affordable. I think they're all like maybe $25 a piece. So it adds up if you got a bunch of them, but you can paint them any way you want. I thought they were pretty good. Austin, what do you think about looking at them close up? What do you think of them?
Yeah, so I mean, from a distance, you can't really see much in terms of like the 3D printing marks that you can see when you get up closer, like the little lines and whatnot. It really looks more realistic and compared to a lot of other terrain that's out there, at least that I've seen. But really, once you get up close, you can see some of the little 3D printing lines and sort of you can see where some of the paint marks are and whatnot. But overall, I think this is a great piece of terrain, and 3D printing really has pretty much a stay in our hobby for sure.
Yeah, really. I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it couldn't have done this. So they're all 3D printed off Etsy, and so I suggest you get them. We had a kind of a painting party here. We had like 4 of the guys from Mark's Game Room get together one night, and we kind of just knocked them all out. So it was an easy painting job. As far as the figures go, almost all of them are artisan 28 millimeter figures, with the exception of these 2 personalities that shows George Luz and Lieutenant Welsh from the famous scene. They're from Stasi Heroes, which is a German company, and they make all kinds of figures from movies. I think they have all the Band of Brothers, they probably have Kelly's Heroes, all that kind of stuff. So we'll have a link in the comments. You can check those out.
So this next one actually has a deeper connection to the creation of the board, especially with you, Mark.
Okay.
This is from Duncan. Hi guys, love the video. I'm responsible for the creation of a 16-foot by 4-foot Band of Brothers themed mega board here in the UK. You can see our Carentanish board that was created here, and they left a YouTube link.
Right, that's awesome. So I was really excited that Duncan responded to this video, and because I think he sees a bit of his work in our creation here, because I actually watched that video, because I was trying to figure out how do I make this little scene here and not spend a year doing it, and his video was excellent. The roads that I used are wallpaper, right? I just glued wallpaper down, and that was straight from his video. Unfortunately, he has a link to get the wallpaper he used, which looks really good. They don't make it anymore, so I had to find something else, like an alligator pattern. So it's not quite as nice, but as Austin said, it gets the job done. Looks
Absolutely,
good. Yeah.
You know.
And Duncan, they cast their own sidewalk curbing. That's really incredible modeling, kind of beyond what I wanted to do. So I just got rectangular long pieces of plastic, right, squares, and just cut it and just glued them down, made it a little bit irregular, put some chips in them, and that looked good. So if you want to see a great Carentan board where I got the inspiration for ours, check out the YouTube link below for Duncan.
So this next one is more about the balance of the scenario. Great table, great game, great video production again. Oh yeah, this is from old school FRP.
Right.
This is a tricky scenario to game with such a small force attacking prepared defenses. I've looked at a number of published versions of this for different rules, and I think a key balancing factor is rating the Germans very low. Most are artillery crews, and all think that they are far behind the lines and suddenly taken by surprise.
That's awesome. So old school FRP. This sounds exactly like the kind of talks we have at our games in the game room, right? Like someone will come up with a scenario, and maybe we'll play it and we'll have this exact conversation, like, was it balanced, was it not, are we taking into account the history? FRP mentions they were all artillery crews, right? One thing I read about that battle was the artillery crews that were with the guns actually ran away, because they heard that the invasion was on, and they just boogied, and the Fallschirmjägers had to scrape together some crews. So now you're talking about artillery crews that aren't even the actual artillery crews. So who knows what that does for morale. But I really appreciate you engaging us about the scenario and your thoughts on it, because that's what we love to do here in the game room. And I would love to hear in the comments today, would everyone out there like to see some videos about scenario creation? What's our process? How do we go about picking a scenario? How do we go about laying it out and coming up with the balance? So if you're interested in that, let us know. We certainly can do some videos about that. I love creating scenarios.
And speaking of new scenarios, we have some suggestions in the comments.
Oh, great.
So this one's from Will. As far as suggestions, my only one would be a new full learning game of Fireball Forward, a video that takes its time, showing just exactly how all the nuts and bolts work together, playing out in a full scenario.
Absolutely will. We definitely want to do that. I think we didn't start our channel with Fireball. I mean, a lot of people know me from Fireball forward, which we love. We have a great time. We're currently working through Kursk, First SS. We're having a lot of fun with that. And we will certainly do that possibly in August if I have time. But we're definitely going to do that. I love Fireball. What else can I say?
Hey, I love it too. It doesn't take forever. It's nice and quick, and you can build some really fun scenarios and whatnot. So I mean, we've all been enjoying it here at the club for sure.
Yeah, we want to do it in a way when we do a video, a game that's translatable to video. What I mean by that is, if we decided to play a 10-turn Fireball game, that's really hard to film to make something you guys, I think, would be enjoyable for you to watch, right? So we're trying to find the right scenario. So we'll get to it, and it'll be good.
All right. From 39 Steps, can't wait. Is this the channel that finally produces a Crimean War games video?
Probably not. I get it.
Probably not.
All right. So here's interesting. So the answer is possibly. Possibly. I hadn't thought about it, but your question got my mind working because a few years ago at Historicon, I played in a Charge of the Light Brigade scenario that was really cool. The guys had 28 millimeter figures. They had hundreds, not thousands of them, and they were beautifully painted. Each figure was incredible. All the Russians, the Light Brigade, everything, they were all beautiful. They had a huge board laid out, and they had the board marked by time, and they would get to a certain point, and then they would read from the poem, like what was happening at that time, which was really cool, and it was fun. It was definitely a spectacle game, right? The Light Brigade is going to get smoked, but can they take the guns, and how cool is it when you're watching it take place in 3 dimensions? So I think the guys actually live near me. Like, I think they live near Fort Belvoir, so not too far away. And I'm going to look for them at Historicon, which is coming up, to Historicon 2023. And if I find them, I'm going to ask them if they still have the stuff, and maybe we make a video of Charge the Light Brigade 28 millimeter incredible spectacle. What do you think?
Hey, they're running away with our guns. We got to go get them, right?
Right? All right. So maybe, and I think that's a question of sometimes the games, you kind of know the outcome, but the spectacle is so cool, it's worth a video, I guess.
Right, right. Well, this one's from Michael Gonos. Congratulations. I think your Fire at Sea rules would be a great way to fight Jutland, or with mods like Tsushima. Would love to see something like that.
Oh, all right, Mike. Well, thank you for liking Fire at Sea. If you don't know what Fire at Sea is, it's our kind of beginner type game for naval combat in World War II. Although people that like it have been asking for modifications to do World War I, or here the Russo-Japanese War. I've heard some people want to do American Civil War ironclads. We definitely are already thinking about it. It could be cool. I think the question becomes for us on the scale, right? Like, I don't think Fire at Sea would totally work if you had the whole fleets out. It would probably take too long. So it's got me thinking that maybe we convert it to squadrons. So instead of having, one battleship, you have whatever battleship squadron that was in. And we might see how that works. But I think it'd be cool. And thanks for the inspiration.
This is from Robert Evans. Great start to the videos, Mark. Could you do one on the room you play in and what makes a great wargaming room?
Absolutely could. I plan on doing a short video about our game room here, like how it's set up, what I have, why people like coming here, I guess. But also, there's a lot of cool game rooms around. There's some around here. And let me know in the comments, would you like to see a series of videos of great game rooms?
For
right?
sure.
And I can go to people I know that have different types of game rooms, what makes them good, what makes them a pain. You can see people's miniatures collections. Let me know if you want to see that. I think it would be cool to do, and I could probably bring you some pretty cool game rooms.
All right, so this one's a fun comment.
Okay, we like fun comments.
So this is from Weird World War II 8775. Well, if you're taking requests, we'd like to see how your historians would break weird during World War II. Nothing is too slight like Operation Sea Lion or too weird like Captain America and Sergeant Rock versus Ilsa and the Red Skull's Undead Werewolf Corps. Let's see how you'd play weird World War II.
Wow, weird World War II. So this is really cool. To this point, we have pretty much stuck historical, and I think that's my main passion. Right, I love how wargaming allows me to access history. Right, but it doesn't mean that I don't like to break weird now and then and have some fun with other stuff. And if I could pan the camera, I'll give you a shot. This whole back wall you've seen in some of our shots, all those figures are flintlock, which is the Napoleonic Wars with Tolkien. So you have the orcs are the British and the elves are the French and so forth. Definitely not historical, but I love the figures. The figures are super fun, and I had a bunch of them for years, but the rules I didn't like. But finally, Dragon Rampant came around. We all love Dragon Rampant. I found a rules home for these figures. I painted more. We've had tremendous games, a lot of fun with them. So I could say I think it's been our idea that once the channel kind of gets going, we might open it up a little bit for some stuff like that. Mainly also as a way of getting maybe some younger people or people have a little different take on it, to kind of get into our hobby. Maybe a way to grow our hobby a little bit. So yeah, weird World War II. I will admit they're not painted, but I do have some Nazi zombies. Everyone should have some Nazi zombies.
Of course.
So we might see a scenario at some point where some GIs at night are holding a roadblock at the Abbé Blanche in Mortagne, and they see some Germans coming out of the woods, but they're zombies.
Hey, that sounds great to me. Stay tuned for more. Switching gears a little bit here for just some general comments. This one actually pertains to a classroom setting with students.
Oh, nice.
This is from Steinfin1. Congrats on the launch of the channel. I couldn't hit sub fast enough. I have used your Fire at Sea rules to run games for students at my school. Thanks, and you keep up the good work.
All right, well, awesome. Thank you, Steinfin1. Great comment, and I'm really, really excited that you're using the rules in school, right? I mean, I've had a career working for PBS doing educational media. So to see that my war games are being used in the classroom is really excellent, right? And I'm going to be phasing out of PBS, so the more we can do with getting these rules in the classrooms is just great for me. One thing, did we touch this already? I mean, one thing when we do some of these rules like Fire at Sea or Ruthless, and I have a new game which we play. It's not out yet, but it's called Fire in the Sky, which is an air game, which I think everyone will love. We've done it because we want to help people get into the hobby easier, and these are games that I think get to the fun quick. Don't bog down in rules, and you can start playing. They're good convention games, right? So that's kind of the theory in that, games you can play with your friends quickly or your family. I mean, I heard a lot of people's wives were playing Ruthless. Wow, that's incredible. So I'm glad you're playing in school, and I hope you can continue. We're going to do more Fire at Sea. We have the Pacific just about ready to go. We just have so many things to do. So you'll see more Fire at Sea, and thank you so much for sharing it with your students.
So this is the longest quote that we got in the comments section by far, but it raises a couple of interesting points, and I don't know how far you want to go into this or whatnot.
And this relates to our What If Hood Went Around to the Right staff ride kind of video.
Right. So
Part 1, Gettysburg.
This is from Matt Hintz 9468. I'm somewhat leery about counterfactual history because there are so many alternatives to consider and assumptions to be made. They are also sometimes used by people who masquerade as genuinely interested in the subject, but who already had a preferred winner in mind and just wanted to sell people on it. For example, if Stonewall was there, there's no way a Confederacy would lose kind of situation.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's a long question. We're only reading part of it.
Right.
He does go on to say that he really liked what we did with it because we were keeping it to a narrow focus and not preordaining things,
Right.
which is great. And I mean, I think that this was a really fun project for us. It grew out of a bunch of tours that I would take with Eric. I started going up there during COVID. It was kind of a safe place to go because it was outside. I could stay away from people and have fun, and I just started taking tours with Eric. And this just kind of grew out of some discussions I was having with Eric, right? And what we decided was, what Eric said was, look, we're going to base everything we can on what we knew historically, right? So what roads actually existed at the time?
Right.
What times would they be moving? What was kind of the march rate, the average march rate, kind of things like that. And then leave everything else in the battle as it was, and then just see what happened. And I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, we've got all kinds of comments on this video. People liked it. Most people liked it. A couple people thought, it was counterfactual, but we're really just using gaming as a way to explore the subject. Like when I was gonna do the game, the question was, okay, how would you move your pieces into position?
Right.
And that became, what roads were there? And so it was really interesting to at least just start to translate it to a game, made us start to figure out the problems that Hood might have faced, right? And so I think it was really cool. I hope everyone liked it. And if you want to see more of those, let us know. The commenter, Matt, is it Matt? Matt said he'd love to see other things. What if Hancock was allowed to seize Marie's Heights in advance of the Union Army? Battle of Fredericksburg. Well, that's kind of cool, right? So I think being positioned here in Northern Virginia, there's a lot of Civil War battlefields that we could do this kind of thing. Like one thought I had to continue on with Gettysburg is the initial contact, right? So you have a player whose Wadsworth division. So you have a Cutler and I forget who's command of the Iron Brigade, but those two guys, sorry, no, those players. And on the Confederate side, you have Archer and Davis, right? And we're going to put them where they started historically, right? And then maybe there's a player who's Buford. And they're going to have to maneuver into position to fight. And I'd try to probably pick players who don't really know that part of the battle, so they won't know what the script is, right? And it would be kind of cool if we partnered with the Seminary Ridge Museum, maybe as a fundraiser. We could, you could maybe contribute some money to the museum, and they could let our Buford player up into the cupola. And so that he can see what Buford would see, which would be really kind of cool, right?
Yeah, who doesn't want to be Sam Elliott, looking out the tower with his glasses.
Anyway, so if you want to see more of those types of videos, let us know. It'd be cool.
This one's from Michael Gaseska 3406. Wasn't Kilpatrick's cavalry picketing the area south of Big Round Top? Is this in conjunction with the attack on Culp's? I do look forward to the conclusion.
All right, Mikhail. So on day 2 of the battle, so the Battle of Gettysburg was 3 days. We are focusing on the second day. On the second day of the battle, Kilpatrick was not near the Round Tops. That was on the third day, and really it was in response to what happened. On the second day, General Buford, who had launched, fought the initial part of the battle, had moved to that part of the field. And there was some confusion, right? Because he was supposed to guard that, but then he was given orders to leave to get more ammunition and feed for his horses to head back to Westminster, Maryland. And another division was supposed to take his place, or at least a brigade, but the orders got fouled up and that didn't happen. So that's kind of shown in our video. And on day 3, Kilpatrick does go there, and there's the famous charge by Elon Farnsworth, where he's killed near the Round Top. So maybe we'll have a video about that at some point. But thanks for noticing that.
Yeah, and this one is concerning the 1-hour skirmish rules that we played with from Dale. Are you willing to share your house rules for 1-hour skirmish?
Dale, of course. We're always willing to share our rules. I probably should have written that up and put it out. But launching a channel was a lot of work, so I didn't. But I could definitely do that. I think really there's only two kind of house rules. One is we flopped part of the sequence of play with morale. So instead of, they have it in the rules, you check morale, and then you check to see if guys that were down live, right? We swapped it so it makes it a little easier to fail morale because we just felt games were going too long. And the other is we added opportunity fire or overwatch fire. We'll write rules about that. Basically, it's two actions. You put a guy in overwatch, and he can take one shot against an enemy who is moving or shooting at him, and when he takes that shot, he loses overwatch. So pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a simple rule set, so
Right.
something that's quick and easy to understand is the way you want to go, for sure.
Yeah, but we did feel like we felt it needed Overwatch, especially for the Second World War.
It did. It felt kind of strange to just charge right in
Yeah.
front of somebody and not get shot at, especially if they're in a fixed position, you know?
Right.
So
like here in this board, the German machine gun in the cafe, you could literally just charge across the street into it, throw a grenade before it could kill you. So.
Well, concerning more rules questions, we had a couple more comments. This one's from Michael. Thank you for sharing your videos introducing and reviewing the 1 hour skirmish wargaming rule set. Not to put you on the spot, which we are at the moment, but since you gentlemen have more experience with the rule set, how do you resolve infantry close combat attacks on vehicles, tanks for instance? The rules warn against letting infantry get super close to vehicles, but I am not seeing a process to resolve an infantry attack at armor piercing value of 1. Thank you very much for your help.
All right. Well, Michael, we've actually never done an infantry attack on a tank. If you saw our video, the mortars took it out. I guess just off the top of my head, first of all, going back to what Matt said in our review of the rules, like the game is a kit.
Yep.
Right? It's very adaptable. So first of all, I would just urge you to try a few things that you think might work because the rules are open enough to let you do that. And I guess I would just give whatever your weapon is that you're attacking with, whether it's a hand grenade or a mine or a sock with C4 in it from Saving Private Ryan, right? I would just give it a value like you give an anti-tank weapon. And if the soldier can attack the tank, then you resolve the tank. Now, the thing about where it says the rules warn against letting infantry get too close, right? That's where op fire comes in. Because if you have a tank and you have some infantry near it that have opportunity fire covering the tank, it's going to be hard for the enemy to run up with a grenade because the infantry is going to shoot them, right? And that's really why you need opportunity fire in the game.
And if, even with all that opportunity fire, if that one guy manages to actually get I mean, he deserves it, right?
Right,
he made it.
Yeah. So just, decide what the value is of your anti-tank weapon and try it from there.
So we had some final questions. This one is from Sean Hutz on 6853. Just noticed the 82nd and 101st card decks. Where did y'all get those? These episodes were an outstanding example of a mini campaign for 1 hour skirmish war games.
All right, thank you, Sean. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you watching all the videos. The cards, which I think I have right here, they're just from an online cards. You just type in custom card deck. There's a slew of people, and basically you just upload a graphic. So I just went online and found the symbol of the 82nd Airborne and the 101st Airborne. I actually also have a Fallschirmjäger deck, which I got like an eagle, and I put it on there. But you can just search custom card decks, and you can make anything you want.
Next is from Andrew Dad 10. The production of wargame videos is intense. I can barely manage one a quarter. This is epic.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. We're still kind of getting our bearings on it. I do have a background in television production, and part of it is this room, right? So we've rigged this room. I don't think you can see it in here, but I'll put some shots in. We have 4 dedicated cameras around the room that lead to what's called a switcher, right? So when we play the game, we're playing it live, and I'm kind of live editing. Like as we're playing, I will switch. So I want a wide shot, tight shot, and then when we're done playing, I kind of have an edited game. But then there is a lot of work afterwards. No one's going to want to watch a 2.5 hour game, really, right? I mean, maybe someday we get to Patreon and people just want it all, no problem. But right now we're trying to keep it like 20, 25 minutes. So I'll take that 2 hours and I cut it down, which is easier, but then I'll add all the detailed stuff, right? Which is the cool shots with the minis, with the speech bubbles and talking. And I hope you're liking that. Let me know, because what I'm trying to do is have like, there's the world that we're all in as gamers, and then there's kind of the little world that our minis are going in. And I have an idea that at some point the minis are going to start talking back to us, you know. Like,
perhaps, yeah.
You know, like, he's going to make me charge that? Doesn't he know that lead men have feeling? You know, stuff like that. Be kind of fun.
It's kind of why we've kept the tradition, as you said in the past, of having our guests bring their nice terrain boards, so it makes it easier for us to produce and, you know, get things quickly together. Yeah,
so thank you for recognizing how much work it is. We'll see how long I can keep it up. I'm trying to release one video a week. I would say, though, that coming up, I'm going to Europe with my family. We're taking Charlie overseas for the first time. I'm going to take Charlie to Waterloo, Quatre Bras, Ligny. We're also going to go to Northampton, War of the Roses battlefield, probably with Graham Evans, who was in our Edgecott video. And I'll try to get some content from over there as well. But that might put a break a little bit in their videos, I'm not sure. But, you know, we're trying to keep it up for you guys. But we really appreciate you tuning in and watching and commenting and supporting us. We're really just starting, as I said before, and we want to keep going. So stick with us, help us. Let us know what you want to see.
Absolutely.
You know, Austin's got 100 Years of War coming, right?
Absolutely.
How's that coming?
You know, we finished up the English Army. We're starting to work on the French, but we're thinking of maybe doing Agincourt, and if possible, maybe doing Harfleur. But we'll see how it goes. It'll be a little longer for sure.
All right. We got Ancient Greeks coming. We got to have Fireball Forward coming. Carl wants to do a really cool Alexander Conquers Persia campaign.
I'm looking forward to that, honestly.
Right. You know, I'm also going to do a Fireball thing. I want people to vote on what campaign they want me to do the next Fireball book on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or what, and we can kind of maybe follow along as we build the book. It should be pretty fun. And hopefully have some good guests. Oh, Masters of the Air is coming out.
Okay.
Right, which is the latest Spielberg-Hanks movie. It's basically Band of Brothers with the 8th Air Force.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do something with that. Probably My Fire in the Sky rules will be released with B-17s, and have some fun content with that.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Cool. All right. Well, stick with us. I really need your support to keep going on this, and we'll see you next time.